Alright folks, and here we are with the SoloStove, and you can clearly see, nice bright burn. It's got a really interesting afterburn feature. We'll do a featured video on this particular stove because it's one of the products that we've been using here at Adventures of Casey for, I don't know, since March of last year, March or April, somewhere in there. And it's been working really well for us. It does have a couple pros and cons, but again, we'll get into that into a later video. SoloStove is a company that started off on Kickstarter, originally started making backpacking stoves, and their design allowed you to use a minimal amount of firewood to produce a pretty decent amount of heat. It was great for backpackers that didn't want to carry around fuel cans or propane bottles or the isobutane, something like a flash stove, or the MSRs or white gas or anything else, and just wanted to go out with what they had, keep it really light. Works really well for heating and boiling water for things like mountain houses or heating up soups, etc. Anyway, with the success of that, they decided to make some fire pits. Now, the first one they made was the Bonfire. Bonfire is their middle-sized one. Then they came out with the Ranger, and they just recently released the Yukon. Yukon is huge. I can't recommend it for anything other than just a stationary, sit at home in your backyard, doesn't go anywhere. It's almost 3.5 feet in diameter. We went with the Ranger simply because of its size dimensions, allowed it to fit perfectly on the roof rack of Casey's truck, in between the fuel and the water cans, without adding any additional height to the truck, for that matter. Now, the downfall with the Ranger is it does not take full-length firewood, and I'll cover that later here in this review. But overall, we've been very impressed with it, and I'll show you a little bit about it here real quick. Okay, so we talked about how the fact that the SoloStove Ranger has one drawback that we have found over the last 5-6 months of using it, and that is the fact that you can't use normal firewood. Now, one easy way to fix that is just get off your lazy ass and cut your own firewood. But for a lot of us, we're just either A, lazy, or B, it's impractical. Don't have a source of wood or whatever the case is, or you're traveling and space is limited and you can't pack 3 weeks of firewood like we are on this trip, Casey's Epic Adventure. So one of the things that we have figured out in the past that we have gone ahead and works really well for us, and very cheap and very easy fix, is go down to your local Ace Hardware. I think this thing was like 19 bucks, and it's real simple. You just take a normal piece of firewood that you buy at the beginning of the campground, and voila. And it's done, and it's that easy. And then, quite honestly, I'll get to camp, I'll pour a whiskey and Coke and sit down, cut a whole bundle in half. So a little bit different on this one. Rather than a quote-unquote unboxing video that you often see, we're going to cover a boxing video, I guess, because it's time to put this thing away, time to get it on the road and continue on with our trip. So one of the things that I really like about this stove is the fact that these holes right down here, so this whole thing is stainless steel, it's double walled, and these holes basically draw air in from the bottom, which helps feed the fire. And then what it does is it superheats that air as it travels up through convection, and then there are holes in the top here, and it jets that air out. A lot more information on their website for it, which covers pretty much everything there, and how it works. I'm not going to try and get into the physics of it, but just trust me, it works. We've been very happy with it, with the exception of the fact that we have to cut our wood in half in order to be able to use it. Any firewood, now don't get me wrong, you can actually put bigger firewood in it. It's just if it sticks up past those holes, it kind of negates that anti-smoke burn-off effect that they have, which is what really makes these things worth the money that they want for them, which isn't horribly expensive, but it sure as hell ain't cheap either. So anyway, Go ahead and put it away, I guess. So this is the main fire ring. It gets this really cool color over time, and it just kind of funnels everything up. And then this is the base. This base is optional. I bought it. It came in a package deal where they're shipping it free with the stove. My honest 2 cents for what I do, I would not have paid any money for this. It's nice, it's convenient, it gets the stove up off the ground, it keeps it clean. However, for me, the cost, I think they want like 40 bucks or something for these things, just isn't worth it. For free, hell yeah, we'll take it. What it's designed for is if you have at home or you're on a surface like a Trex deck or composite decking, it elevates the bottom of the stove from there so that you don't damage the surface that's underneath it. I guess if you're in some super eco-friendly whatever and you don't want to hurt the soil, well, why are you burning trees in the first place at that point, right? So anyway, it just stores right inside. Now it does, because it goes in so easily, it just leaves, and it can actually make a lot of racket when you're driving down the road. So what I did is I just had some extra Delrin. I just made a wedge. I'll just put it in there so you can see it. Put the wedge in there, and now it stays there rattle free, and I don't have to worry about it. So it comes with a pretty decent case. Again, like I said, we've been running this thing since April. On top of the truck, and it's held up. I don't really think that that's what it's designed for, but and there you go. So here you can really see that secondary burn taking effect, and basically it just freaking looks cool. Stir it up a little bit, get that soot and that spark rolling, and then that secondary burn kicks in, and you can see those jets just kicking out of that top. And there you have it, all stored up, loaded up, back of the truck. You can see no extra height, and fits right in between, which is exactly what we were after. Okay, so there you have it. We have no problems endorsing this SoloStove. It's a great stove. It's a great product, and we do use it every trip that we go out on. If space is not an issue for you, go with the bonfire. If space is an issue, take a look at the Ranger. If you're made of money and you have a big fire pit area in your house and you want something really cool, go ahead and buy the Yukon. These things have held up very well over the last 9 months. I don't treat anything nice. Most of my equipment gets pretty beat up, and I'm very impressed with this thing, and have no problems whatsoever recommending it.